The last years have been tough for Star Wars fans. Right, guys? After the Disney trilogy, everything sucked, right? Like everything but Andor and Maul Shadow Lord. Or the clips with Anakin in it. But other than that, yeah, not quite a good couple of years. But what if, guys, what if I told you there's something that sucks far less than the sequel trilogy? Well, probably you already know, because unless this video is magically viral, it's not like I will have more views on YouTube than the film I'm about to talk, well, about. But I write my videos however the fuck I want, and maybe you just want to hear somebody's opinion on that. So anyways, what I'm talking about is the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Escape from Taras fan film, made by Studio 70 from the King's Academy. First of all, I want to say that if somehow you're watching this video and didn't watch the film, if you expect the same audio quality, effects, costumes, and budget a Disney slop show has, know that you're obviously never going to find them. Of course, this guys did an amazing job in my opinion, but they simply don't have the budget those big sloperations have. With that said, I think we can all pass over some imperfections in the audio, VFX, and costumes if the product is valid. There are some other things that people didn't really like. For example, the stiff combat. Lightsaber fights are not super easy to choreograph correctly, to be honest, and the sequels are pretty much a perfect example of that. I understand the decision of leaning more into the story and characters than like super action-based scenarios. The game itself is not an action game, it's kind of a strategy turn-based game. But I don't know, I personally hope later fights with the other parts of this project that are about to come out. People also didn't really like Darth Malak's interpretation. I didn't really mind, to be honest. It was okay. Juhani is killed by Revan, and some people didn't like this choice, but I feel is true to like most blind first playthroughs of people I have seen around. Given it's unclear you are supposed to save her, and her quest is pretty buggy. Master Vander is pretty funny, yeah, and also some complained about the repetitive framing and lack of practical environments. But guys, we are talking about a student-led, non-commercial production that didn't use AI, not even for the VFX. Like, I guess we can understand, we can cut them some slack here, no problem on those. Because really, what I think is that I had an amazing experience watching their work. I think if you like Knights of the Old Republic, it's almost impossible for you to not love this film. And so let's talk about the amazing stuff this fan film does, right? And how it crushes the Star Wars sequels. Of course in terms of trauma, but even in terms of dialogues, even if some criticize them. I seriously felt much more cringe viewing only, and I say only the They Fly Now scene, than any amount of cringe I could have felt from 2 fucking hours of Escape from Taras. In the sequels, they had billion-dollar budgets and the dialogue still felt like it was written by a bunch of robots who've never met a human being. Students from Studio 70 are writing lines that actually sound like something a person would say for once. At least those persons, those characters. Well-established characters. With a personality. You understand that, Disney? Guess not. Bastila and Mission performances are considered between the best, and I tend to agree. Particularly Mission did a great job with her character. When Bastila acts arrogant, you believe it, but also you don't, and is the same in the game. A lot of characters give the exact same feeling they gave in the game, and is a beautiful sensation. I liked Karth and Revan. Yeah, some lines could have been done a little bit better, maybe for Karth, to sound a little bit more natural, but Karth is also a somewhat stiff soldier, so... But their dynamic on screen, to be honest, I loved it. They have their fair share of serious moment when they confide to each other, and it's just beautiful. They do a great job, the dialogues are deep, they stick to the lore, and they get to your heart, in my opinion. If you grew up with KOTOR, if you spent hours on the Ebon Hawk listening to these guys talk, this film gets into your head. It gets into your heart. It respects the source material. And it's crazy that something as simple as that in the modern scene is rare. Disney didn't give a blatant fuck about all the Anakin is the chosen one idea in the original trilogy. They literally wrote their own little thing without looking at the source material. They literally used just the names, like literally just the names and what they heard when young about the characters. Same exact shit as with the Rings of Power, I swear, is insane. Okay, but we also gotta talk about Trask Ulgo. In the game, this guy is your tutorial buddy. You know him for 5 minutes, he opens a door, he dies. Most iconic KOTOR character that ever lived. And he is actually there, they included him. To be honest, the film couldn't start in a better way. And for 2 hours, it's full of this awesome attention to details. The little things, the iconic lines. They had to choose a little bit, given there are a lot of options in the game, things like Juhani, and this, unfortunately, knowing the KOTOR trauma is only gonna get worse, and people are gonna maybe be upset. But with the MMO Star Wars The Old Republic, we actually did have a canon ending for Revan's story. So I think they can work with that. I look forward to the performance of Jolee Bindo and mainly AK-47, everybody's favorite assassin droid. I'm sure they recreated the different planets to the best of their abilities. And at this point, I'm sure they will keep the best, most interesting and significant parts of the story present on the different planets. My only problem has been with Kalo North, honestly. Not that the actor was bad, that wasn't the problem at all. He was just young, and to me, Kalo North was a Veteran old and bald bounty hunter. But yeah, in the film is a little bit of the comic relief villain. And to be honest, in-game it gets crushed by a ceiling, so I might understand. But yeah, this is not a big deal either. It doesn't remove anything from the value of the project. So yeah, the combat might be stiff. The stuff might not be perfect. Master Vandar might look like a little weird PlayStation 2 demon, but none of that matters when the characters, the story, and the visuals are there. Because for me also the emotions are there. And that's the one thing Disney can't buy with all their billions. You can't fake a story made with the heart and soul. To me, they made a love letter to Knights of the Old Republic. It's almost the best Star Wars thing we've had in years. Yes, maybe I'm a nostalgic fuck that is only waiting day and night for a Darth Revan adaptation on screen. And maybe you're not mistaken. But if you haven't watched it yet, and you're not a little bitch that can't look at something that doesn't have Hollywood level production, which is also fake because you're literally at this point of my video, so subscribe and like, please, just go watch it. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself remember why you became a fan. Let yourself remember of amazing characters, in epic and interesting stories about really diverse and convoluted people, a time where we gave a more profound meaning to the stories that surround us, where things were not done merely to entertain, but they also had a ton of fucking passion in them. And yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments. I hope you felt what I felt while watching that film. I'm curious to hear y'all's opinion about all of this stuff, and see you in the next one. Bye.